Vive la résistance!
Hello and welcome back to another Hearts of Iron 4 dev diary. Today we're going to be looking at the achievements and judging whether we think they're going to be easy, average or extremely difficult achievements for us to do upon the release of La Resistance. But before we jump in, I thought it was important to actually bring up the release date, because it just occurred to me I'd never actually mentioned it on this channel, and hey, there might be somebody watching who didn't know. So for the record, to get it all straight, the drum roll going, La Resistance is going to be released on the 25th of February 2020. And for those watching now, that's less than 20 days away. Okay, let's head into the dev diary.
Behold, it is I, Oscar Benaviez. Just heard the release date for La Resistance seconds ago and wanted to add my calm and restrained response. Where is my Soviet rework? I'm gonna write to Paradox directly about this. Ahem. Dear Paradox, I am writing to ask why, in almost 4 years, you have ignored all my pigeon letters and not touched the Soviet Union, despite me constantly demanding you to do everything I say.
So in total, there are going to be 20 different achievements added to the game. We can go through them all one by one. For the most part, they seem to reference really old movies and television shows, which all the Zoomers among us won't really remember. I mean, I didn't even recognise all of them, but I'm sure we'll get through them all. Let's begin. 1 king, 2 crowns, as Bourbon Spain hold all Spanish and French core states. So in order to get this, you need to play as Spain and go down the monarchist path to unite with France. I think this just is a case of following the focus tree and hoping that France picks the monarchist path the same as you. If you have a shared monarch, it should be pretty easy. We will rock you. As Spain, own Gibraltar. At first this seems like quite a difficult one, because what it's asking you to do is go to war with Britain to claim Gibraltar. But if you just stick the game on ahistorical, all you need to do is wait for Britain to decolonise and they'll give you Gibraltar back for free. So, ahistorical Iron Man mode, this is a pretty easy achievement.
Well, I didn't vote for you!
Win the Spanish Civil War as the Anarchists. This seems to be just a pretty straightforward achievement here, just win the war following down one of the focus tree paths. I mean, if you're struggling to complete the Spanish Civil War, then I suppose it could be quite difficult, but overall it shouldn't be impossible. Overall I'm going to say this one is a medium achievement. Our chief weapon is surprise. As Spain, have at least 5 spies and stage 5 coups against other nations. This feels like one of those AFK challenges, where once you've won the Spanish Civil War, you just need to build up your industry, hard invest in espionage, and level up your spies as much as possible to be able to coup some maybe much smaller nations, which only have 2 states and are very easily couped. Die, perfidious Albion. As Fascist France, or Vichy France, occupy all of Great Britain. So here I think it's going to be, it depends on how you go. I think as Vichy France it's going to be quite difficult, but if you go fascist and you're able to naval invade and paradrop in Britain very early in the game, I don't see this being the most difficult challenge in the world. I think it's very doable. I mean, my personal first world conquest was as France. I'm going to say it's easy if you know what you're doing, but it could be medium if you're struggling, and I'd say it's pretty hard as Vichy France. Second time's the charm. As France occupy Moscow while Napoleon VI is your country leader. Now this might be quite difficult. I mean, Napoleon struggled to get in there the first time, what with the winter and all, but if you follow down the Bonapartist focus tree for France, you do get an annex war goal against Germany and an annex war goal against the Soviet Union. So I think what it's asking you to do is wait until Germany has declared war on Poland, then declare war on Germany yourself, so that you have a border with the Soviet Union, and then declare war on the Soviet Union, pushing all the way through to Moscow. It could be quite hard, especially if you're underdeveloped, but it could also be easy depending on how strong France is with the new update. Tour de France. As Bradley Wiggins, occupy all of mainland France while having at least 20 fully equipped bicycle regiments. At first I was confused by this because I thought it was saying that France could have bicycle divisions, but what it's actually saying is playing as a country that has bicycle regiments, have 20 of them fully equipped in your country. So currently, the two nations that have bicycles in my head are Japan and the Netherlands. Hypothetically, if you went to war, had the Netherlands in your faction, couldn't you request lend-lease of bicycles, then just spam out 20 bicycle divisions? Would that then not count as owning mainland France and having 20 bicycle regiments? Just a thought. In that case, I would say it could be easy, but it depends on how easily you can get the bicycle divisions. If not, it could be a Netherlands versus France kind of game. Go ahead, Macau my day. As Portugal, create a collaboration government in Macau and have it own all Chinese states. So this for me is quite confusing because we don't really know too much about collaboration governments as of right now. When you release a collaboration government, you would get a Portuguese China as a sort of semi-puppet state, from my understanding. The question is, can you have one of these puppet states when the original China already exists? In my opinion, this could be a lot easier if Macau had its own individual tag, but hey, we'll see how it goes. As far as I can see though, to make this small tag own all of China is going to be pretty difficult as Portugal. So yeah, I'm going to say this is a hard achievement. Best friends forever, it's BFFs. As Portugal, join the same faction as Great Britain. I mean, forgive me, but is this not just going down a focus tree and then joining the Allies as a democratic Portugal? I mean, that was my understanding of what it is. If that is the case, then I'm pretty much sure this is an easy achievement. No concerns here. Lord, forgive me on this pronunciation. Warsawo. Wolsks. Nobody look at me when I say that. I have absolutely no... It's Warsaw, right? It's Warsaw. Stage the Warsaw Uprising and succeed. So I presume this is a collaboration government kind of thing again, except a special one specifically for Britain to do an uprising in occupied Poland. All in all, if it just needs the uprising to succeed and not necessarily the Polish state to be returned to its fullest state, then it could be easy. It all depends on if they want an invasion of Poland which doesn't start with D-Day. Play it, Sam. Have a spy network of at least 50% strength in Casablanca. So, this is obviously a reference to the film Casablanca and the Piano Man, Play It Sam. To have a spy network of at least 50% strength, as I haven't personally experienced the spy network yet, I'm not 100% sure how difficult or easy this could be. But from what I've learnt from streams, it would just seem like getting a decent spy and sticking them in Casablanca to build a spy network could get you at least 50% strength. Time will tell again. Spies trade. As India, become the spy master for the Allies. So if you're doing this achievement, you're basically sacrificing any other civilian industry you have purely to become a master of spies for the Allies. Which, I mean, if you're going for the achievement run, is a perfectly, I think, obvious thing to do. I don't think it could be the most difficult thing in the world, but I don't think it's a viable strategy if you want to play a long game of India. All in all, I'm going to say it could be medium, but I don't know how difficult it is to overpower the Spy Master AI for the UK. You will never kill me alive. Have one of your spies take a suicide pill. I think this seems pretty straightforward. Go into your agency, unlock suicide pills, maybe stick your spy in an extremely dangerous place and just let them get murdered, I suppose. Well, captured specifically, then let them murder themselves. I think you'll achieve this one naturally just through playing the game, so it should be pretty easy. Why die for Danzig? As Germany, have France turned fascist while at war with Poland? I'm not sure about you, but this one strikes me as being quite difficult. Especially if it's requiring you to then go to war with Poland, but make sure you don't annex Poland. You sort of have to stalemate them long enough so that France flips fascist while you're at war with Poland. It might require some sort of timing to get this one right, which, if you do stalemate Poland, could be quite easy, but if you're doing a historical rush of Poland, then the timing is going to be quite difficult. I see everything. Get over 90% intel in each category on a major without using code cracking. Well, I'm not sure which major you're supposed to go for in this, because majors seem to be quite lacking, but perhaps Japan as America. So, Japan can be quite sort of strained when they're at war with China, and if it goes on for a long time, you could focus entirely on using your civs to create an agency, and then full power your intel onto the Japanese, and maybe that's the best way to do it? This one's going to be a mystery. Let's just say it's medium. You don't know until you know. Vodka Martini. Shaken, not stirred. Successfully stage a coup in any nation using a spy with the seducer trait. So clearly here a reference to James Bond. I think that's his name. I could be wrong on that. The key here is to stage a coup using a spy with a seducer trait, so just re-roll your spies until you have one with a seducer trait, or have to reload the game, and then hopefully get a coup. This feels like one of the achievements you could do with the Spanish achievement, where you have to get 5 spies and have them coup 5 nations. If you have a spy that's already a seducer, you're going to get this achievement before you get that achievement. So using that logic, this achievement should be pretty easy. Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. Alright, hello. Have a French and British spy work together on the same operation. As I'm not quite sure how joint operations work, I cannot speak to how easy or difficult this is going to be. But I would assume that because you're generally speaking on historical going to be allies, it shouldn't be the most difficult thing to do to get them to work. If it means completing the operation, maybe that'll be more difficult. I'm going to stick it as an average achievement until I know more about how these operations work. The man of 1,000 faces, and every one the same. I'm seeing a trend of references here. Have the same spies be captured twice, so needs to be successfully rescued. So in the game, if you have a spy that can be captured but not killed, which is pretty useful to have, then you need to go recapture them doing the same operation. Depending on how common spies get captured, killed, and then how easy it is to rescue them, will entirely determine the difficulty of this challenge, which is something people will learn as they play the game, so it's average until we know. Turing complete, fully decrypt all nations in the Axis. This feels like a speedrun achievement if you ask me. I mean, if you start off as Britain or the Americas, and you stick all of your industry into forming the agency early and fully into decryption, the Axis only has one nation in the start, and that's Germany. So if you immediately decrypt Germany, surely you're way ahead of them and can get this achievement immediately. If that proves to be right, this is a pretty easy achievement. And finally, achievement number 20. Don't die for your country. The challenge from ParadoxCon 2019. As Germany in 1939 occupy all of Poland and France without taking more than 475 in casualties with no paratrops. Well, Paradox. This is an achievement and a half, and I'm not even going to bother. I think it's ridiculous. It's categorically ridiculous. Alright, that wraps up this week's Dev Diary, so I'm going to use some additional time to talk about last week's diary for those people who didn't see it. To quickly go over, there will be 4 new songs added to the game: Imperatita, A Storm Coming, Liberty, Equality, Fraternity, and Cloak and Dagger. These are 4 good songs. We've got a Spanish Civil War song, an Axis War song, a French theme song, and the song that the spies will listen to. I've heard one of the tracks and you might be hearing it now, and frankly I think it's pretty decent. It's a lot better than what I had in Man the Guns if you're asking me. Here we can see a collection of new art and portraits that are coming to the game for all the new countries. I particularly like the new councils that we have here for the fascist military junta and the anarchist commune. I think having things that aren't just people's faces is a very unique and interesting thing to have. I'm all for it. It looks very cool. Here we can see some of the operatives. I'm a particular fan of Granny Miggins on the right there. And lastly, there was some discussion of some individual portraits added to the game, seen here with Otto Skowronski, Skorzeny, Ginny Rousseau, Dusko Popov, Josephine Baker, and Nancy Wake. I think these portraits look very good. I don't know about you. So I hope you enjoyed this wrap-up of the new achievements and some other bits and bobs and fluff. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
In conclusion, I'm sorry I said Tommy K could make a better mobile game than you. Please unban my 45 spamming accounts from your forums, and begin work on a Tanu Tuva immediately. Kind regards, your biggest fan, Oscar Benaviez. Too much?